We are live. Good evening, everyone. Megan, would you say the statement of presiding officer, please?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call-in information, were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo, Sentinel, Morris Daily Record, and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda.
Thank you, Megan. Would everybody please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Megan, would you kindly take roll, please?
Give me 1 second. Scott just popped on as a regular. Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Ray?
Present.
Committeeman Verleza?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Lavender?
Present.
And Mayor Paserchia.
Present. So, and I believe I see Officer Langenbach in the back, Dolores. Hello there. And I know you have a photograph. Hopefully. Vic, were you at the game?
Which game is this?
Where Dolores was?
The Devil's
I was at that game. Yes. I was at that game.
Did the
That was a
Devils
nice
win?
surprise.
Did they win?
No.
There we go. All right, so what we have is a photograph up here from that New Jersey Devils game, and I'll read a statement we have. On March 5th, the New Jersey Devils hosted their annual Gender Equality Night at the Prudential Center. They honored one of Long Hill Township's officers as the Prudential Center's Heroes Amongst Us. Officer Dolores Langenbach, and hopefully I say it correctly, was honored, and we could not be prouder. Officer Langenbach is a third-generation first responder and has been a member of the Long Hill Township Police Department for over 24 years. During her 24 years with the department, Officer Langenbach has received several saving awards and recognitions for township residents. Officer Langenbach is on the Narcotics Task Force Operations and the Auto Theft Task Force. She was the PBA president from 2021 to 2023, and we, as we said, we could not be prouder, so thank you.
Do you want to take a picture in front of the screen with in the background?
Can we do that just over here?
Yep.
Sure. And you have your camera as always? All right.
You can't pronounce Robertson, but you get Langenbach right.
Did I say it right?
Yes, you can't pronounce Robertson, but you get Langenbach right. True.
Yay.
Was it 6-2?
That was awful.
Blowout.
I'm looking for it.
That explains what the presidential award is.
All right, so Matt's gonna have fun on this one.
Me, want me to read it?
All right, so this is a tougher name for me to pronounce.
Okay.
Zoya? Zoya, did I leave my glasses over there?
Zoya.
Zoya.
There you go.
All right, there we go. In 2003, the President's Council on Service and Civic Participation founded the President's Volunteer Service Award to recognize the importance and the role of volunteers in America's strength and national identity. This award honors individuals whose service positively impacts communities in every corner of the nation and inspires those around them to take action too. So tonight, we have a proclamation. Zoya, we're gonna do that? All right, we're gonna get that right, because your name is gonna get said quite a few times. Whereas the untiring work and dedication of volunteers, while certainly appreciated, too often goes without adequate recognition of the valuable contribution that is made. And whereas Zoya Pasha has demonstrated the true spirit of volunteerism with her exemplary volunteer work at the Long Hill Township Library, earning the President's Volunteer Service Award Gold Medal. Whereas Zoya Pasha has diligently served 120 hours in the Long Hill Township Library over the course of 1 year. Whereas Zoya Pasha has assisted the children's librarian with story times and after-school art and STEM programs. Whereas Zoya consistently showed up and assisted with tasks, big and small, all contributing to making the library a bustling community hub for literacy and fun. Whereas Zoya, we are proud of you and look forward to watching you continue to contribute to your community and world. Therefore, be it proclaimed that on March 13, 2024, the Township Committee of the Township of Long Hill in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the residents of Long Hill Township, does hereby extend deepest thanks and appreciation for Zoya's service to the Township Library, and we wish Zoya all the best in the future. Signed, Guy Pacercia, Mayor, Long Hill Township.
Oh. Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
We have a tiny bit to add.
All right, so did you want to?
Wait for the microphone.
Sure, I'm just gonna say a few words. I don't think I need a microphone. Does anyone need me?
You do.
At home.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Albie with the library, and we have Jessica, our children's librarian, and we are both so thrilled to be honoring Zoya, who has just done a great job being a volunteer at the library. We're proud of her volunteerism. Her dedication to the library and her community is impressive, and we can't wait to see what this smart, kind, reliable, civic-minded individual does next. Jessica's going to give her the gold medal. That's what we need a picture of. Yay! Sure. We'll have something else, too.
Congratulations and thank you. So who's taking the pictures? So this is yours.
That's yours. You got it.
You gotta show the medal, too.
Oh, yeah, the medal's impressive.
I don't know, how do you
Yeah,
want to do that?
that's good.
There we go, all right.
There you go. 1, 2, 3.
All right, congratulations. Okay, looking at Zoya's dad.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Sure. Congratulations, Zoya.
Find your glasses?
Oh, jeez. Leave your pocket? I thought they were. Oh. Now we go. All right, here we go.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. All right, so item number 5, if you're keeping score at home on the agenda, ordinance 533-24. This is second reading for adoption, an ordinance concerning security at public meetings and supplementing and amending Chapter 3 of the Township Code entitled Police Regulations. If I could, Jack, maybe you can speak to this a little bit?
Yes, this ordinance was recommended to the police department by the county prosecutor's office if we want to have security at meetings. What this ordinance does, it allows the township committee, the planning board, and the board of adjustment to request police security at one of their public meetings. If the request is made, all members and of the board and visitors are subject to a search by a magnetometer. In addition, all bags, packages, etc., will be searched by members of the Long Hill Township Police Department. Those who refuse to submit a search will not be permitted to enter the meeting room. It's permissive, it's not mandatory. It's up to the discretion of the Township Committee or one of the boards.
Thank you, Jack. Any questions or comments? And I know, Scott, you're listening virtually. Matt,
No.
Vic, Brendan?
No.
We will get to the public. You've been to many meetings, you know how this works, right? Scott?
He's probably on mute.
He's on mute? All right. Okay. So now what we will do is open the meeting to the public to discuss or comment on this ordinance, ordinance 533-24 on second reading.
Joe Ferrandino, 623 Chestnut Street, Sterling. The other day, I had the pleasure of coming by here to pick up a petition to run for the town council. And I was wondering why the people that work here, how come they're not entitled to police protection and a metal detector when they're here doing their job? It's only for the town council? That was the question.
He wants to know why he doesn't have metal detector out there all day.
Well, for the people that work in town, you know. Maybe somebody's upset about their tax bill, a little deranged. They come in here and there's poor Megan without any police protection or a metal detector. But all the town council and planning board, zoning board, and the elites of the town, they get that protection. Just thought it was odd. No comment?
Well, I don't think it's very unusual for town councils to have, or public meetings to have, a metal detector at the door.
We never had one before. 33 years I'm living in this town. Never had one until, I think I said this once before. Plato said to Dusonius in Sicily, "What harm have you done that you need all these bodyguards?" History repeats itself. Have a good night, gentlemen.
You as well.
And Megan.
Any other member of the public who's present here?
You guys are almost done? This is the public comment at the end? You guys are quick. Oh, it's not?
No, it's,
Public hearing for the ordinance.
Oh, my apologies. I'll see you later on.
Yeah.
Right here.
any other member of the public who is present in this room? Seeing none, Megan, anybody at home?
CA would like to speak.
Whoever CA is, would you please state your name and address for the public record?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Charles Arenowitz, Millington. I've got two recommendations, revisions to this ordinance 53324. Given the fact that at Township Committee meetings since June 7th, 2023, that's over 9 months ago, we've been in a security threat that the prosecutor's office and the county sheriff has no knowledge of. And we spent so far $1,600 of taxpayers' money to support the magnetometer. So here are the two changes I recommend to this ordinance tonight, 5324. One, the board committee who is requesting the service notify the county prosecutor and the county sheriff of the
Go
threat.
ahead, I'm sorry, Chuck, go ahead.
Number two, if a member of the board committee, employee, or a professional consultant of those boards and committees feels unsafe for some reason, I'd like to include in the ordinance that the individual be able to participate in those meetings from home via Zoom where they feel more safe. Those are the two recommendations that I recommend to ordinance 5533-24. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arantowitz. Any other member of the public who is at home?
If anybody else on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Thank you, Megan. So I'm going to close the meeting to the public and look for a motion regarding 533-24. Second reading.
So moved.
Megan?
Committeeman Lavender, sorry. Committeeman Dorsey? Yes. Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lavender has no voting privileges, and Mayor Paserchia.
Yes. Thank you, Megan. All right, so item number 6, consent agenda. That's resolution numbers 24-085 through 24-0-095. And I know, Brendan, I'll steal your thunder a little bit. You have to abstain. Go ahead.
24090, 24-093, especially, I guess, and 24-094.
Thank you, Brendan. Anybody else? Anybody want, any member of the Township Committee would like any resolution pulled for further discussion? Scott, well, speak up if you want to. Otherwise, looking for a motion to approve 24-085 through 095.
So moved.
Megan?
Committeeman Dorsey? Yes. Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lavender has no voting privileges, Mayor Paserchia.
Yes. All right, so liaison reports. I'm going to put pressure on everybody else by going to Vic first.
All right. For the,
Liaison report.
I'm ready.
Fire away.
I got to get
Oh, you gotta wait for Megan.
Sorry.
I should have tipped you off there, Megan. We'll go left to right. How about
No,
that?
I'm good. I'm good.
Right to left if you're looking at home or in the audience.
All right. Our liaison, the rec liaison report is as follows. Just before the meeting tonight, the Recreation Department held an early St. Patrick's Day themed virtual bingo contest. Congratulations to our lucky winners. We are busy getting this year's Dog Days of Summer concert series locked and rocking. The Recreation Advisory Committee made their selection of 6 bands for this year's concert series. In addition, we have added another band, 4 Flight Rock, to our National Night Out festivities, which will be held on Tuesday, August 6th. Mark your calendars now. As soon as all of the other bands are locked in with dates, we will post the schedule. The Recreation Advisory Committee is always accepting new members. Looking to volunteer in the community? Come have some fun with us. Contact the Parks and Recreation Department for more information. Registration for the summer camps and the Sterling Lake is scheduled to open on April 1st. No fooling. Anybody get that one? April 1st, no fooling. All right. Slide 2. Don't forget to register your entries in the Winter Snow Sculpture Contest by 3:15 on Community Pass. That's this coming Friday, and last chance to send in those photos. Slide number 3, becoming a volunteer youth sports coach can be one of the most rewarding experiences. Are you considering coaching a sports team this spring or in the near future? If so, you'll want to make sure you have the Rutgers Safety Clinic training. After completing this 3-hour class, you'll receive certification from Rutgers, good for your coaching lifetime. The Long Hill class tomorrow night is now full. Long Hill residents who missed out on getting a spot in this class, please contact the Recreation Department to review future options for this certification. All right, we are hopping into spring here in recreation. Download our free spring activity packet from the website or stop by Recreation and pick up a packet. While you're there, be sure to stop by Recreation and take a guess how many jelly beans are in the jar. The winner will be announced at our annual spring egg hunt. Don't miss out on this sweet deal. Okay, mark your calendars for our annual spring egg hunt. Saturday, March 23rd at Cantor Park at 10 a.m. sharp. Rain or snow date is March 30th. The egg hunt for children 8 and under. There's a petting zoo and pony rides along with light refreshments and an adult egg hunt sponsored by the Long Hill Chamber of Commerce. This is a free event. Bring your egg hunting baskets. Don't forget, a very special guest with long ears and a fluffy tail will be there to greet the kids. Please take advantage of this great photo opportunity. New this year, spring field hockey game schedule designed to keep our fall field hockey players in shape to continue in the fall. Register by $3.29 on Community Pass, and the fee is $40 per player. Spring yoga session just announced beginning April 8th. Please register on Community Pass. And moving on to slide 10, looking for a summer job? We have lots of opportunities in the Recreation Department. Please check out all the information on the website and apply online by 4/1. And that concludes my recreation update. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Vic. No fooling, right?
No fooling.
Brendan?
Thankfully, nothing from me after I couldn't follow that up.
Tough act to follow,
Yeah.
I admit. Matt Dorsey?
Yes. All right. Both fire companies, 53 calls to date. They've been very busy this year. Luckily, nobody's been hurt and everything's been under control, but they've responded to 53 calls. The good news is, some exciting news, is that 2 of the 3 new trucks should be arriving in the next couple of weeks. I believe the ladder truck's coming on, a couple of weeks, Brendan?
It could be here as early as next week.
How about that? And the engine in Sterling, same timeline, maybe the next couple of weeks, so it's exciting news. I'm sure they'll have wet downs or parties for all the new trucks at some point in time. And Sterling Fire would like to thank everybody that attended and helped out with the venison dinner, the local businesses that plugged it, all the community that came to support it, the men and women that donated their time and or venison meat to make the project so successful. They had 190 people there, which is really, is that not the record, is it? No, but the 190 is still a pretty good turnout. So look forward to next year, be the 25th? 25th next year. Big prizes, big news. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, so First Aid Squad, much like the fire companies, has been extremely busy this year. They're up about 160, 170 calls for the year. Well, no, that's not true. It's about 100 and change, because I don't have March's number yet. February was nearly 50 calls, so a big shout out to the First Aid Squad as always. And even though the calls were a little less in February, I noticed, I think we all noticed, that some of those calls are coming in the middle of the night when a lot of us are sleeping. So thank you for your dedication. One thing, Megan, I'll probably work with you on this. Our 2 of our volunteers in town Daniel Rogers and Tom Grosskopf came up with an idea that it became apparent to them that not all the volunteer groups kind of knew each other. You know, so they're members of the planning board, members of the Board of Adjustment, Shade Tree Commission, Rec Committee. And the recommendation, the suggestion was maybe we can have once a month, once a quarter, once whatever. We can all meet at town hall, not required. Send out an invite to the chairperson and say the chairperson, the vice chair, anybody, any member of those groups, just to come in and maybe talk and meet each other. Because I think the only time these folks are in the same room is at the volunteer dinner, and then they tend to congregate with the folks they know. It was also suggested that the mayor provide pizza. So that might be an enticement. So what we could do, Megan, I'll work with you to send out an invite across the board. We'll pick a night that seems to work conveniently, and anybody who can make it, please, by all means, do so. That's it. So now I think we'll turn to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. As I stated last meeting, in June, sometime in June, we'll be sending out letters to private stormwater fixtures that people own on their own property to let them know what the stormwater requirements are and maintenance requirements, that they would have to file a report to the township committee, township of Long Hill prior to April 1st of 2025. We have a new requirement that people may or may not be aware of. Certainly, landlords are aware of it as they've been coming in and talking to the clerk's office. Lead abatement requirement. These are for houses built prior to 1978. They're 1- and 2-family rentals. And Megan, did you want to just go a little more into detail about what is required of the landlords?
Sure, thank you, Administrator Barr. So this was Public Law 2021 C-182, which was proposed July 18th, 2022, and went into effect May 1st of 2023. It requires all rental units built prior to 1978 to be inspected for lead-based paint. The municipality will handle the 1- to 2-family homes, while the state will handle anything greater than that. Long Hill last year adopted Ordinance 51123 and 51323 and Resolution 23-101 to abide by the regulations. We do not have a housing department and have contracted with a DCA certified lead evaluator contractor called Bay Hill Environmental. If you are a landlord, you're not required to use Long Hill Township's contractor Bay Hill Environmental and are able to hire privately from one of the 126 DCA certified lead evaluator contractors listed on their website, which was last updated March 11th of 2024. If you're working with an outside DCA certified lead evaluator contractor, you can discuss the 3 following options. Lead-free, meaning that your rental can be deemed lead-free and you wouldn't have to complete the lead-safe inspection every 3 years or upon any tenant turnover, whichever comes first. You can do lead-safe only using visual inspections. Long Hill is only required to do visual inspections. However, Bay Hill Environmental, working with the municipality, does require dust wipes. And then lead-safe using dust wipes, just like the municipality option. So again, if you have questions concerning this, you can absolutely reach out to me in the clerk's office. And we hope to get letters from the municipality going out to registered rentals who have filed landlord registrations form or have been identified through tax records to have rentals by April 12th. Right now, we're listing about 114 rentals in town.
Thank you very much. 2 more things. Register your dogs before April 1st. There is a late fee now after April 1st. Anybody that has not registered their dogs or licensed their dogs will receive a summons. If you no longer have your dog and you received a renewal, please let the clerk's office know, because they don't necessarily know if you have, if you no longer have the dog. Late today, we got notice, very good news actually, that we had applied for grants for the Sterling Volunteer Fire Company and Millington Volunteer Fire Company for turnout gear. And we found out that we were awarded $40,000 to Sterling Fire Department and $30,000 to Millington Fire Department. So that will go to great use in updating turnout gear that is outdated and in need of any new volunteers. And that's all that I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Randy. That reminds me of what Matt brought up, the emergency vehicles that were purchased, thanks to the residents of Long Hill. The sale of the sewer system is the gift that's going to keep on giving for many years. So I don't know, what was it, $2.7 million in vehicles at some point? Somewhere around there.
2.5.
2.5 million. So thanks to the residents of Long Hill for recognizing the need to sell the wastewater system. We are in a very good financial position, and we will be protected by our men and women volunteers and the first responders, of course, as well, our police department. All right, so discussion, the food truck, the food truck special event permit, and I promise we're not going to go for 30 minutes on this one tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
We're going to let Jack explain this.
Yes, Mayor, this is the food truck ordinance that we've discussed at length at the last two meetings. Made a number of changes to it. I'll just go very briefly through. They're allowed in any non-residential zone. They can be on the location 3 times a week for not more than 8 hours. Can't operate before 7 a.m. or after 10 p.m. Shall not operate within 200 feet of a restaurant, basically, which is, while it is open for business without the written consent of the operator. Shall not operate within 500 linear feet of a residential zone boundary, and I think that's probably the one remaining issue that wasn't resolved. They can park on street, subject to traffic regulations, parking regulations. Can't interfere with the flow of vehicular or pedestrian traffic. They can't solicit business, can't have amplified music or loudspeakers, no lighting except for decorative lighting and menu illumination. Decorative lighting was added. Shall not display any signs except they can have one sandwich board sign not exceeding 12 feet in area. They can only sell food and beverages. They can't sell alcohol. They have to provide trash receptacles. Everything has to be self-contained except, no, that's all. They have to maintain a 10-foot separation from any combustible object, including other vehicles and buildings. They have to have on display at all times a valid food truck license, a valid Board of Health license, and a valid fire safety permit. The following things are exempt: frozen confection vendors, to use a term from the deputy mayor, construction sites, special events, and at block parties in residential neighborhoods. So that's basically the gist of the ordinance.
Okay, so we're not introducing that tonight. Just want to have comments from the Township Committee, but I think we kind of beat that one up at the last meeting. It's kind of my encouragement. Let's not beat it up again, but any member of the Township Committee would like to discuss this or comment?
Some of the distances could be
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah, the 500 feet.
500 feet.
That's why I said that's the one issue that remains for sure.
And even
That's the only one. The 200 feet, we kept in there, but we said the restaurant has to be open for business and they can give their consent if they so choose.
Wasn't there some, maybe I'm missing it, about how far it could be from the front of the building or something?
Yeah, we changed that.
Oh, okay. Do we just get rid of that, or we changed it?
We just got rid of it.
Okay, that's right, okay.
This isn't addressing the type of food trucks or giveaway trucks that Scott had brought up from a resident in the last meeting.
I mean, the weed truck,
Yeah, correct.
the cannabis truck, as Dennis would call it.
How could we put
Aren't-
that?
aren't- We can add that, but aren't they prohibited by state law? Can't you only sell on licensed cannabis premises?
Well, they're not selling
They're not
weed, they're
selling,
selling
they're-
other items, you get free weed
Correct.
with the
Oh,
item as a
well,
bonus.
I think that's a police matter.
Well, one of my clients was doing that, and he said it was legal, so I
Yeah.
don't ask.
Well, it was always rumored that Good Humor Men were doing that years ago, so. But I think that's more of a police matter than,
So we can't put anything to prohibit that?
well,
It was just a concern raised by a resident.
I understand, but I think it's already covered by state law.
Okay.
So I have a question. We have like in town, we have the lobster roll truck, we've got the scream truck, and then we have, what is it, the Oak Flower Brewery? We have that situation over there.
Right.
Is there any way that we could hear from some of the food truck, owners or something to give their comments on what they think? Is that necessary, not necessary? Could they give us some ideas of?
I think it's more important what the property owners want rather than the food truck, but that's up to you all.
Or maybe, if the Oak Flower proprietors could come here again.
Oh, they
and
did.
take-
Yeah.
No, they,
Oh, they've been involved in this?
In fact, they just
They
went
spoke
up one
up.
night, and at your suggestion, we made it 3.
Yes, awesome. All right, great.
So,
Again, because if we're going to do it and we're going to really review it, and this is something that's going to be, I just want to make sure that we have
and,
all the necessary input possible to try to limit any disappointments.
well, and we can always amend it if we run into unanticipated problems.
All right.
We'll go back and amend it,
Great.
because we can't anticipate every problem. It's gonna come down the pike, I guarantee it.
our ordinances are living, breathing documents.
That's right.
That's right.
They're not written in.
They're working
No.
in
They're
mode.
not constitution.
Are we limiting, on the first page, under, puts it, special event B, with more than X anticipated?
Oh, that's on the special event ordinance? That's the other ordinance.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
alright.
two.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, so that one we'll introduce next time.
Jack, if I can send you a few comments.
Oh, sure. And we can put it on for discussion next time and put possible introduction.
No, I think we should put it on for introduction.
Introduction, okay. We've had enough discussion.
Yep.
Fine by me.
So next meeting, we could do it for,
Introduction, but I'll send my comments to Jack and we
Yes.
can
Please.
briefly talk about it
Yep, you're the one that has
for
to,
introduction.
you're the one that has to implement it, so yes.
thank you, Megan. Thank you, Jack. All right, so, Parks and Rec policy
Wait,
changes.
do we want to do special events? Because Matt raised that one
Oh,
question
I'm
about.
sorry.
About number, no, it's on, it's combined with the other one.
Comments?
Well, the only question I have is, it goes to special event with more than X number of anticipated attendees.
Right.
That's tough to, I don't know, I could show up, there'd be 100 people there, and then 2 hours later, there could be 5 people in the truck, or whoever can still be there. So I don't know if you want to limit the number. The same thing on E, would say proposed take place in Westwood Park. The number of attendees exceeds X number of persons. I don't know how we police that.
I think Lisa has also put it in, ironically, the other part of the discussion that we're having for the Parks and Rec policy changes. She kind of put that it was the discretion of the rec director if a special event permit would be required.
We can try that. The problem with that is it's vague and could be applied arbitrarily, and somebody could challenge it on that basis. You know, the thing is, if we put in a number, we're obviously not going to go out and count every special event. But if it gets out of hand, it can be enforced. It's up to you all. But I looked at a number of ordinances, and that seemed to be the only way. Because what we're trying to do is just regulate those special events that will have an impact on traffic and things like that. If it's just a small gathering, there's no reason for the town to get involved.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay, we still don't have a number, but that's okay.
So special event permit, any more questions?
Just one, whenever you talk about on page 4 at the bottom, it's a small point, but the sponsor is a non-profit entity which has been granted, maybe just say tax exempt status by the IRS, because there might be some other,
Well, Dennis actually brought that to my attention, and I checked, and 501c3 and 501c6 seem to be the only two that would be applicable.
I think
Did I add, is that copy of
Yeah.
501c6?
I think we're at 501c4. I think the fire company is.
Oh, okay,
So that's why I just to make it a blanket statement.
Okay.
But rather than go through all the.
Dennis also mentioned a 502C6 and a 170C1.
well, 170 is the town, so
Okay.
we don't have to get a special
Yeah.
event license.
Okay.
So anyway, it's a small point, but if,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just
Yep. Will do.
and then it would also be at 3A, I guess, as well.
Okay.
Megan's killing a lot of trees tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those at home just heard Megan scold me.
Wonderful.
All right, Parks and Rec policy changes. I don't believe Lisa's here. So Jack, did Lisa run this by you, or?
She did not.
So Lisa submitted this to me. Attached, please find the proposed new packet for anyone interested in renting one of our park/recreation facilities.
Okay.
Highlights, this incorporates the new Myersville pickleball court, the fees, the process to permit review, reserve the court, and the facility rules. While I was updating, I decided to update some additional language within the packet to try and marry it better with the special event permit, which I know you're currently updating. All suggested edits are highlighted in yellow. So it does have in there the language that says
Okay,
the rec director can require a special event permit.
there was no change to the fees themselves?
The only fee that was
Yeah, the
added
pickleball.
was the pickleball.
But it says NA, so will there be a charge for pickleball? Do we know? We don't know. Okay, that's fair. We can ask Lisa. So, well, everybody has it now, and I know you're just going through it very quickly. And of course, the two multi-purpose fields are at Matthew G. Cantor, which was formerly known as Riverside Park. So it's Matthew G. Cantor Memorial Park.
Well, it looks like the tennis courts are with hourly rates for out-of-town people, but I don't know if that's gonna be the same for the pickleball.
No, I think the intent is not to have it available for out of town, for non-resident,
Oh, so,
resident commercial or non-resident
oh,
commercial.
okay,
Only available for residents.
all right. I'll
At this
quick
point.
anyway. Got it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how popular it is, and I know Vic, you're a pickleball maestro. And, you know, working with the Recreation Advisory Committee, et cetera, and with Lisa, of course, we will have to look into that in the future. All right, so, is that good? Everybody,
Lisa did say that there is no charge to the pickleball courts.
thank you, Lisa. Okay, so moving on to the next one, emergency purchasing. I don't know, here we go. Somewhere a tree weeps.
Yeah, this has to do with authorization to utilize the emergency purchasing rule. It came up several years ago, and it was decided to make it the mayor. Matt has asked that it be reconsidered. You know, we discussed it during COVID, as I recall.
Yeah, it was during the attempted coup.
Right.
So, I mean, it should go back to the administrator, I think, because the administrator, the people that work in town are here all the time. They get paid to be here, they're here 40 hours a week, whereas the mayor, whoever it may be, who knows where you are, or you can get a hold of the person, whoever it may be. And we pay these people to be professionals and understand these rules and laws, so I think it should go back to them to make these decisions. Didn't
And
go
the
well
statute-
last time.
Yeah, the statute's very wide open. You have unlimited discretion.
Did we ever have one before this?
No.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Matt, you're saying it should just be the administrator, should go back to being the
Yeah.
administrator?
Well, yeah, administrator, probably CFO, the administrator or CFO or something. They can consult with people, but it should be whoever's in that position. I don't care who it should be the position, not the person. I don't care who the person is.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, it's starting to sound vaguely familiar. I don't know if COVID.
I think
kind
COVID was
yeah, now I'm remembering
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
This
Whereas
was the-
Matt, your objection at the time was exactly what your objection is right now.
That's correct.
The rest of us, having foresight and care, well, at the time, our motivation was
Yeah.
because of COVID.
Yeah.
That, of course, is no longer the issue.
And it's not utilized very often.
This
So,
was in 2021. It was after COVID.
Yeah, I know, but it
But it
was
was-
kind of like a
It was right in
reaction at
that,
the end.
it was right in that
Tail
time
end.
frame, yeah. Yeah.
If we could have, we would have made it in 2020 if we had
Ida,
thought of
yeah.
it.
It was in there. It's because Ida. It said during and after tropical storm Ida, blah blah blah. So it's from Ida. That's what prompted all this.
That's correct.
I mean,
Oh, right, right,
Randy,
right,
I mean,
right,
this
right.
is something I know you've considered. What Matt's saying seems to make sense to me. Do you have any?
Yeah, it was, it goes back to a September 2021 meeting where the QPA and CFO at that time had some concerns about emergency purchasing being done over at police headquarters. And
Okay.
not that, and that person was me, just for full disclosure.
Right, I know.
Not that I was trying to prevent anything from being done, but certain things are emergency purchases, certain things are mitigation. And the emergency purchasing situation was getting blurred and cloudy by including mitigation all within the same aspect. So, and that's when the committee asked Jack to take a look at it, and as you can see, the following from, in October, they transferred it to the mayor.
Yeah, we had no policy before that, really.
Correct. You know, of course, we had emergency purchases.
Right.
And it was the CFO that
That did it.
took care of it and processed the emergencies during any either FEMA, governor declared emergency or any other type of emergency purchases that came across.
Okay, I mean, Vic, I don't know if you have any comments. It seems to me it's outlived its purpose. Brendan, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's what you were saying
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, I remember it. I thought it was COVID.
Yeah,
now,
but-
now I remember
But-
exactly what happened. So, yeah, I mean,
There were very specific circumstances at the time it was
Yeah.
last discussed.
I'm fine with it.
You want
We're very-
administrator or CFO?
Yeah, the interesting thing
Well,
is.
would it be the
That's
QPA?
one and the same person now.
QPA. Well, the QPA is not on site.
No.
Right.
Police now, but sometimes there's.
Well, maybe, but CFO, probably.
I'm curious what the CFO thinks.
I think whether on either both or one or the other, the CFO is a statutory employee.
Right.
Which makes more sense. They would be much more familiar with the purchasing laws
agree.
and so forth of, and determining what's an emergency, where funds can be charged, how you can do an emergency, the percentages that you can do an emergency compared to the budget and so forth, so on. So it makes sense to or if you want to put CFO in conversation with the administrator of QPA, something like
I
that,
don't
you know.
think we make it too complicated.
No.
Yeah.
I think CFO, because
Makes
it's a
most sense.
statutory position. It must be here,
Right.
must be filled.
Because there have been
Yeah,
times in the
I
past
agree.
too, when the QPA was not on site. as
Sure.
well. So the CFO is, I think, more available.
So Vic, let's start with you. I think the suggestion or recommendation is that it would be the CFO,
It makes sense to me.
Brendan?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Matt?
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree,
Okay,
so,
well, next meeting.
perfect. All right, this is new business, I guess, although it is old. It's something we've, looked at in the past. Noise from the train, from NJ Transit trains, the whistles, and I know some towns do have quiet zones, but it's a little bit more complicated. Jackie, when I spoke about this at length, maybe you can kind of fill in the residents on what the concern was of one particular resident, and then, of course, the conversation you and I had.
Yeah, the concern, and it's not unusual, the whistle blowing as the train approaches the station. It's a very complicated and expensive process, though, to get a quiet zone established in that area. Bernardsville looked into it for 2 crossings. They spent initially on engineer's fees about $3,000. The engineer came back and said the total cost to go all the way through the application process and the approval process with no guarantee of approval would be close to $300,000. So they abandoned the idea.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is, of course, we know we have new residents moving into town, and maybe they were a little surprised. We do have 3 train stations in town.
Yeah.
Uh,
And we did have a death at the Millington train station a number of years ago.
That's
There were
right.
some other circumstances there, but nevertheless, I think,
And another, and there was one in Berkeley Heights, just
Yeah,
across the
yeah.
Longview border.
and I think, you know, living near the train station and hearing them, I mean, they do tend to use the horns a lot. You hear them, but I mean, I think they're erring on the side of safety, and I've learned to live with it.
Well, you live very close, and as does Scott Lavin to the Millington train station. I mean, I must admit, growing up in Jersey City, it's not, but even here, I've come to look at it as a soothing sound.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe not soothing to everybody, but I think over time.
Yeah.
And then in light of the cost,
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
And that's-
and the uncertainty whether it would succeed. It's not like we
Yeah.
can spend the money and then we know it's going to be approved.
There's a reason why they
They do.
sound the whistle.
Yeah.
And I think that the
Safety.
vast majority is safety. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, there are some state regulations, aren't there, or?
Yes.
So they must.
Probably federal.
Yeah, I think, I was just gonna say, I think the federal regulations.
Federal, okay.
Yeah, and there are federal regulations as to how you can get a quiet zone, and that's why it's so expensive to meet all of the standards. And like I said, there's no guarantee you're gonna satisfy them.
I hate to sound callous, but I just think that's something you have to take into consideration when you buy your home and it's right by a train station. Just like if you move by a park, you're gonna expect some noise from children at a playground.
Or an airport.
Know what I mean? So
Airplanes.
again, I don't wanna sound callous, but it just,
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those situations, it is what it is.
It's part of the charm.
Yes.
Matt?
I've had that discussion before in the past. It's the same discussion we've had, whatever, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, it's something you live with, and as I said, I hear it, and it sounds comforting to me for some reason. Any other old or new business? Seeing none, we have an announcement, and then any member of the committee, because I was gonna look through my phone, I don't know what we have coming up. But the first thing we do have is a retirement party. I'm announcing this, right, Megan? I'm not inviting,
Well, you can, it's for you guys, but Lucy is our,
Nobody wants to show up.
Lucy's our health officer.
all right, yeah, okay, so this was just given to me, and I almost, well, we
Well, you
can
can announce her with-
congratulate.
yeah, exactly.
Lucy Forgione is retiring, which I didn't know, by the way. And so, big shout out to her for the work that she has done over many years with Long Hill Township through some challenging times, including the aforementioned COVID situation. So Lucy, thank you and congratulations. And
I got an announcement.
there you go. Go ahead.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 7 p.m. Pippin at the high school. Script and Q. It's going to be a good show. Tickets are on sale. It's also Saturday matinee at 2 o'clock. The kids have been working hard, so go out and support the local thespians. Thank you.
Vic? No. Brendan?
Nope, nothing from me.
I'm looking at two things. All right, so the Myersville Presbyterian rummage sale is March 15th and March 16th. So that's Friday and Saturday, 9 to 4 p.m., 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So the Myersville Presbyterian rummage sale. Our hometown hero, Grace Eline, there's an event. You can go on withgraceinitiative.org. And there's an event with Grace Swirl, Sip, and Support. That is March 22nd.
I think that closed out.
Yeah, but we know people. Isn't it the spring Easter egg hunt?
Vic got that covered next
All right.
Saturday.
Well, let's do it again, though. Spring Easter egg hunt, March 23rd, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Why don't you give another shout out? Go ahead. Don't read it. Say it.
Don't miss the Easter egg hunt at Cantor Field next Saturday, 10 a.m. sharp. I do have another announcement. Next Friday, the 22nd at the Senior Center is our second annual pasta night.
That's right.
So if you're a member of the Senior Center, please join us. It is a free event. We will be cooking different types of pasta. Some people were concerned it's a Friday about the meat being in the gravy or the sauce, and we're going to have a nice marinara sauce. We'll have meatballs and sausage for those who want it, and we're going to do cavatelli and with pot cheese. So there's no meat in that. So there'll be non-meat choices. It's a free event. Homemade wine. Come on down and join us next Friday at 6 o'clock.
And I believe sometime back, the Pope, through the powers vested in him by God, the senior, if you're 62 and above, I believe you can.
No, you don't have to fast.
I thought it was 60. Yes, there's an
You don't have to
age.
fast, but you still have to abstain from meat.
Oh, I thought you got a pass.
All right. That's one team merit.
Again, don't miss it, and everything is homemade from scratch. So the food will be good.
And
The food will be good.
Vic is quite the chef, I have to admit. All right, so moving on. So item number 12, meeting open to the public. I just wanted to say a brief comment before we open it up to the public. There seems to have been some confusion typically on social media, which is not my favorite place, but I do monitor it. We don't tend to answer questions on social media. We have these public meetings for a reason. They're taped. You can view them at any point at your leisure, probably forever. I don't think we ever delete any of the meetings. But to my knowledge, I don't know of any other town. It was introduced during COVID, and then every town I know of that had public participation, both to observe, to watch, but also to participate by asking questions and making comments. We still do that. The place to go for information is not Facebook. And so this confusion that gets out there, and sometimes it gets a little traction, and none of us really like to answer questions on Facebook. We prefer to answer it in public, so every member of the public can see it and hear it. Our local paper can report on it. It's a free country. You can go to social media But oftentimes, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again, social media is where truth goes to die. If you want to know what's going on in your town, this is the forum to do it. Everyone on this committee, their emails are on the township website. I've received emails, well, I receive emails all the time. I receive phone calls all the time, as does everybody up here. We spend probably more time on that than we do in the bi-weekly meetings that we have. So if you have questions, and I'll give an example. A couple weeks back, a resident had expressed concern about a call that happened last summer about somebody who had a health issue. And, you know, we take that very seriously, and I reached out to the first aid squad, and it sounded familiar. Turns out, and there was concern that it was a delay in response. So I reached out to Captain English, and he said it sounded familiar, but he wanted to look into it. And he looked at it with members of his squad. Turns out it wasn't last summer. It was the summer before, number one. And number two, is it police, our bravest, finest?
quick.
Within 2 or 3 minutes, it wasn't an extended period of time. And the first aid squad was there within 15 minutes, which is standard, because they have to go, get the rig, outfit it, and get there. And our police are trained. They can do everything, in most cases, what an EMT can do at the first aid squad. My point is, the email was sent to me. We took it seriously. Reached out to the first aid squad. They took it even more seriously. Researched it, found that it wasn't in 23, it was in 22, and that the police had arrived within 2 or 3 minutes, and the first aid squad had arrived within 15 minutes. So that's just a minor example of what this entire committee does. We take your inquiries seriously. We're not going to respond on Facebook. We're just not. 90% of the time, what I read on there is not based in fact. And I had a full statement I was going to read. I'm not going to read it. But I probably would use it depending on where we go, what direction we go in public comment. So with that, I'll point out, we'll open the meeting to the public, 3 minutes. We don't debate. You can ask questions or you comment, but this is not a debate.
I'm still Joe Ferrandino from 623 Chestnut Street. Since, you know, I agree with you. Things on Facebook shouldn't be taken as gospel truth, and I think that people seek out Facebook because they feel frustrated when they come here and they don't get answers to their questions. So I have a question that came about through Facebook, and I would like to be clarified. Did, in fact, Randy resign his QPA because the town council handled the contract to fix the police station after the flood? The town council did not go through the bidding process, and therefore it was a violation of law, and Randy, being an attorney and a qualified purchasing agent, may have been in hot water for that. Is that in fact true?
He's not an attorney.
He's not an attorney?
No.
Which firm does he belong to that we just paid $244,000 to? That's not a law firm?
No,
Okay, that's you personally.
No, no.
no.
Okay,
It's an auditing firm.
it's a what?
Why don't you ask the question? 'Cause
Okay, I
you
just did.
wanna know
I
who-
want to know if in fact, because you know it still sticks in my craw that we still have Nancy Malou on the payroll because she's the QPA, because Randy's not. And was it in fact that he resigned his QPA because of a problem with the not going out to bid to repair the police station?
There was a difference of opinion at the time. We did go through the legal steps required to do an emergency purchase.
And,
Randy
yeah,
at the time disagreed.
Yeah, and
The
I think
standard of
I
the
think I
purchase.
just said that earlier
Yes.
in the meeting.
I
That's
think it
why I
was-
wanted to know, because that was brought up, the emergency purchasing.
I think it was also discussed in public at the time.
It was.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a long discussion in public as to whether or not emergency purchasing could be used.
And it was a feisty,
Yeah, it was a feisty
Debate.
discussion, that's correct.
And please understand my concern, because after watching the show that went on during COVID, how all normalcy and constitutionality was thrown to the wind, the same thing now. You know, what's the sense of having rules and regulations and codes if, you know, somebody got a cold and we don't have to follow any rules?
No, the difference of opinion as to whether or not the emergency purchasing regulations applied. But
Okay.
the rules were followed to a T in implementing it. Some people thought it went too far. Everyone thought that emergency purchasing could be used for at least part of the project. The question was, how much of the project?
Okay, so it was all deemed legit.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And I would say, Joe, I think all of us agree. No problem. I think all of us agree with you, you know, but sometimes the federal government or the state government trumps what we can do up here. We're not as powerful as you might think we are. We have to follow guidelines that
Not
come from the
according
state.
to the doctrine of lesser magistrates. We are the people. We are responsible for our own destiny. We, the people.
I hear you.
Hi, I live at 269 Union Street.
269 Union?
Yes.
And your name is?
I'm Diane Melendez.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So my concern is there's wetland across the street at 255. And I'm just a little concerned because my husband lives on special machines.
Okay.
And I'm
Sorry
just,
to hear that, but.
Thank you.
And thank you for your, what I do, I say I don't respond on Facebook, but I do look at it.
Okay.
Thank you for your morning kind words that you say to the community.
Oh, of course. Oh, thank you. So, I'm just worried about the fumes if you know, what's gonna go on there. I'm not sure, but I'm just worried with the fumes from the traffic, because I don't know what's gonna happen with that property. So I'm just worried about that wetland.
Yeah, I'm not familiar, anybody familiar with that
I know
property?
exactly, which I'm sure that's why Paul's here too. I'm guessing
Yeah,
'cause he was across the street
I'm
as well.
worried because my husband is very sick, so.
Where's that-
I
where
wanted-
exactly?
Next to the American Legion, if you're facing the Legion to
Oh.
the left, Fettis bought it, he owns the property to the right. I don't know what he's doing with it, they cut a bunch of trees down and it's just
Is
sitting there right
Cascade
now.
at the end of the street?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
I know
I'm-
the
I
property.
thought the outside.
My husband lives on machines, very serious machines, so I
But is
just,
anything happening that's concerning at this point in time? Are they putting
they
anything in
just,
there?
they cut everything down, so I don't know what's going on, but I'm just bringing
it's
it
a
to your
wetland.
attention. It's wetlands.
Then you probably can't build there, and if they can, they would have to, unless it's a single-family house, they'd have to go before one of the boards.
So I'm just bringing it to your
Thank
attention.
you. We'll look at that. Actually,
So
I don't
I'm-
know, they
Okay.
shouldn't be clear cutting a wetland.
Nope.
So that's my concern, is my husband, because he,
We-
life support
We'll
with
take a
my
look at it.
husband.
DEP
Thank
issue.
you for bringing it to our
Thank
attention.
you, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And sorry about your husband, and thank you for your morning kind words.
Paul Wormuth, 255 Union Street. Concern is the same property. I have it in writing, I can just give it to you and be done with it, if that would suit you.
Is that something you wrote or something?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, sure.
all right.
Is there like a summary though you can tell us?
Yeah, I'm just going to give you a quick summary.
Okay,
It-
perfect.
It's a lot that was, for all time, has been registered as residential. But the zoning committee that, looking at the township and making plans for the future, or planning board, I guess you call it, looked at it and thought that maybe there's two lots there that they could make light commercial. I have several concerns. I don't think they know there's a drainage ditch that goes through the middle of the one property. The drainage ditch is going to need maintenance. Whose responsibility does that become?
I'm sorry, actually, Jack, could you say, because,
Yeah, the planning board just adopts the master plan. That doesn't give permission. The township committee would have to adopt an ordinance changing the zoning in order for that to happen. And for anything commercial, they'd have to go before the planning board.
Well, the planning board has put up that it could be rezoned for light commercial, and that's our concern.
Yeah, well, that would have to then come to the township committee, as I say, and the township committee would have to adopt an ordinance rezoning that property to light commercial. And to the best of my knowledge, that has not happened.
No, it has not happened
Yeah,
yet.
so.
the best of all worlds is if it's wetlands, that solves the
nothing's gonna
problem.
happen anyway.
Well,
Because
you say that, but
we can't zone something that's wetlands for any development.
you say that, but there's property right down the street from there that's very wet that now has a structure on it.
There's a single-family home down towards Humphreys.
No, it's,
Oh, you meant the other side?
yeah, it's where Dave Welsh used to have his property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you all know Dave Welsh,
To
I
the
hope.
right, if you're looking at it, it's
Yeah.
You're
tucked
talking
to the
about the
right.
house,
No, it's
No,
not
it's
a
pole
house.
barn. It's a pole barn down there.
It's a pole barn.
I
Yeah.
think you're allowed, though, pole barns on wetlands or something
But
like
it's
that.
flow through, so it fits that, but he kept his trucks there, but he was a small company, and nobody even knew he was there. That was the nice part about having Dave Welsh there. He was a good neighbor and quiet, and, you barely heard him leave in the morning, you barely knew he was coming back at night. But, the new owner is, far more ambitious with his plans on business and what have you. And I understand that. I praise people who are that are interested in having their business grow, and particularly in a small community such as Long Hill, to have a prosperous business is quite a handful and quite a compliment. But I also say that on doing that, we have to be careful of the ordinance we already have and support the ordinances we already have before we move forward, too.
If there ever is an ordinance that comes to the township committee, you'll get notice.
Yep. For sure.
But,
I mean, in the immediate sense, though, let's look at what it's,
Yeah.
if it's wetlands. and-
yeah, it's wetland.
I often tease, when people think the township committee, how much authority.
Oh.
The reality is this is how it works in the state of New Jersey. You have, the Muppets up here, so we're the lowest life form in government structure. Then you have the county commissioners, then you have the assembly and the senate, then you have the governor, and then you have the DEP. Nobody tells the DEP what to do, as we learned. The reality is the DEP is there through Democrat administrations in Trenton, Republican administrations in Trenton, and they don't give it a hoot about either.
Well, we
They
call
certainly
that,
don't care about us. So if the DEP, to get back to
We
your
call that
property, if
entrenched.
the DEP, if that's a wetland.
Yep. It's
Yay.
and it's even more difficult now, more than
Right.
ever.
Yeah, you know,
More rules recently
my
came
husband
to
has
pass.
The machine.
Uh-huh.
DEP will not allow, diesel trucks to be near my home
Because of the wetland.
because
'Cause-
of, my husband.
Because of her husband.
Okay,
no
okay.
additional vehicles
got you.
that burn
Oh, yeah,
diesel
That can't be
going,
there because
going, creating
1,500
traffic.
feet from my house, that can't go there. Because when I lived in North Plainfield, and Millington Savings Bank owned the property next
Mm-hmm.
door, and they went to sell it, DP came in and said you cannot sell that property to, a painting company because of my husband's machines.
I think it's safe to say that right now, we are going to find out exactly what is going on that property, and we're going to pay attention to what future intention, what the future intentions are.
And I have 2 phone numbers and 2 names on there. I wrote
My
in.
husband has pulmonary fibrosis, coronary heart disease, failed kidney, failed liver.
I'm so
So
sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
very sorry to hear that, but quite honestly, we are very grateful for you to bring this to our attention. I honestly did not know this was going on in that spot. I thought that the Elks owned that property, by the way.
So Dolores, the police
No,
officer.
the Elks don't own anything,
I saved
but
my
the
husband.
township owns that property. It used to be the Elks. it used to be the American Legion.
Yes, I know exactly.
And when the American Legion folded, then the property went to the township.
Correct, that's right. And the township leases it to the Elks.
Yeah, it leases it to the Elks, and the
Right.
Elks are
that's
using
So
it
if that's the
down there.
case, then how is
Veterans
somebody
program.
doing something on that property right to the left of it?
Don't know. That's why we're gonna
If
look
we,
at.
do we own it or not?
they purchased it
From whom?
Al, that's why, Al, would you mind, or
The
could
other
you
property is
explain?
behind the American Legion.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's not right next door, it's the one behind.
okay. I have to take a look.
We did get a registration for tree removal there that was owned by the Montisanos, that Drew Fettis had bought that property. We approved the tree cutting, except for the few
Okay.
trees in the roadway. But there is a lot there with a structured building that is, I guess, approved at one point back in the day. So I think he's gonna build a garage. His intention is to build a garage off the pad that's existing there and put parking for his vehicles. Don't hold me to that, but that's what I was told when I went out to check the trees.
So let me ask you, Jack, Al.
Thank you, Al.
Let me ask you a question. If something had some kind of pad or whatever it was and the structure is gone.
Existing.
But it now becomes a wetland,
They can't rebuild.
that's what I would have thought.
Right.
So that's what we need to find out, if it's a wetland. A case in point, this property across from us is 80 acres that we purchased, and then it stretches back to a wetland that goes behind the Sterling Hotel. But when we purchased this property, only 8, and Lord knows, the DEP regulations are getting more strict. I would think 50 years ago, that entire 80 acres could have been built on. Then it was 60, and then it was 40. Now it's 8, and Lord knows if we don't get moving on something.
Yep.
We may not be able to develop the 8 into a park or something. We're not gonna put a small nuclear
You
reactor
say
in there.
something that many people, many of the neighbors on Union Street would say would be fine if it went to the owner and offered.
Yeah, let's find,
You know.
I
Yep.
can
But
talk all night.
That's for conversation.
I am Italian, so I can talk for the next hour with my hands
I
moving.
thank you, I thank all of you very much.
Thank
The
you.
reality is, let's find out what it's,
your
what it's,
intention is
if it's a
good, thank
wetland.
you.
And then that solves the problem.
And what the plans are, whether they need board approval or,
Yep,
so.
thank you.
Thank you again.
Meeting's still open to the public. And let me guess, you're still Tom Grosskopf?
As far as you know. Never convicted, Your Honor. Tom
Doesn't
Grosskopf,
have it
Gillette.
yet.
Pardon me? Yes, that is true. I have something. Stay there.
Ah,
Back about trees.
Thank you.
good night.
Good night, thank you.
That one's for you.
Thank
Do you
you.
want it back?
No, it's for you if you need it for
Well,
any
that looks
reason.
like it's an ash. Yeah, I had that same issue.
This is a tree that's on Mitchell, and previously I'd complained about it years ago, a couple of times. About 3 months ago, it caused 2 power outages on the same day because a branch fell, took the power lines down. They repaired them. We were out 3 hours. Sure enough, comes back on. An hour later, we lost it again. I was told, the tree's fine, it's some bad branches. If you look, that's rotten to the core. How fast does that happen on a tree? I
Is that an
candidly
ash?
don't know. Hmm?
Is that an ash?
It turns into ash when you put it in a fireplace.
No, I'm only mentioning it
I
because
honestly, I don't know.
because it looks, I had a tree removed on my property and it had that same type of pattern of destruction by the ash borers.
Yes, but and I know Monday we happened to lose a tree on Valley Road.
Long Hill Road as well,
Yeah, Long Hill Road.
just after my family drove through.
You don't want to be that same story that was reported by the Echo Sentinel, where the branch went through the windshield.
Yep, that was, I think, on east part of Long Hill from Myersville. This was, the tree the other day was between Myersville and the Shrine, I think.
So I just show this to you just to keep dead and dying and diseased trees on top of mind. There's always something to look at around the town, and I don't mean just trees. There's good things, bad things, whatever. And if you forget about them, things like trees will fall off from the to-do list. which we all have, right? So please keep an eye out for these things, because like I said, I've complained about it a couple times. It was all right, and then it's not all right.
And the only thing I would say is residents like you, Al and his team have limited resources and hours in the day. That's not to say they won't look if they see something, but please, if a resident sees something
Yep.
not dissimilar to a pothole, you know, Al's not gonna see every pothole on, how many miles of roads do we have here? Somebody told me one time. But, how many? Well, no, but I'm saying just roads. I mean, we can't know where every pothole is.
Oh,
And we can't know where every challenging tree is. And this one looks like it's close to the curb, so that would have been
Would have been
something
in the
we
right
could
of
have
way.
addressed
Yes.
if we had known about it.
Are you on this one, Al? Are you aware of this one? Does it need further?
I don't know I don't know who took it down.
Does this need further inspection for the,
No,
for
it's-
the, for the,
it's
for
a
the
done
trees? It
deal.
looks like,
The other trees are alive?
I don't know who took it down. I'm assuming it was the homeowner. It must have been something that they addressed themselves. It's on Mitchell. It's in the first house on the corner there.
Oh, yeah, contractor took that down for us.
Okay.
So the town did it. There you go. So somebody, maybe you, do you know how did you, did something you observed?
No, that resident called me.
The resident called, okay.
Put on a list. Unfortunately, the contractor needs X amount of trees for him to come out, the co-op will use. So there's a delay on that, but that was cut through the township.
But there's a classic example of why we need resident input. There's just no way to monitor every tree in town.
So let me turn my reminder to all of you to watch out for this and keep it as a major topic, to a thank you to Al Gallo and his team for staying on top of this and taking care of our trees. We need to keep it up.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you all.
thanks, Tom.
Any other member of the public?
I guess I consider myself a member of the public. Tom Jones, Gillette. It's just a PSA. I just want to recognize the Long Hill Police Department. We were out of town for 4 days, and I used the vacant house, and they came by multiple days and checked on the house and did a perimeter check as well as a door check. So just want to say thanks to the
Did you
Long Hill
let them
Police
know
Department.
before you left, or?
Yes, we did.
Yep.
We called it in, went right through the menu, logged it, and they came by. So residents should use that. That's it.
Thank you, Tom.
And thank you to the Long Hill Police Department, as
Yes.
always. Anybody else present? If not, I'm gonna ask Megan if she would kindly look at the residents at home.
If anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
So moved.
Going back to exec, right?
With no further action, and thank you for everybody.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your input. Thank you.
Good night.